YBCDUL was talking smack to his ops just 24 hours before he was killed.
Been on multiple drills.
And this was the reaction of a parent of one of YBCDUL's victims after the rapper was confirmed dead.
It's bits and pieces. For every family he dissed, they got a piece. He missing limbs.
From disrespecting his ops' graves to dissing them in interviews,
He should have worked somewhere where it wasn't a drive-through.
everyone knew that his time was coming, and the story of his death will leave you shocked. This is how he messed up. Dr. Disrespect killed. It was a typical Friday afternoon in the Olney neighborhood of Philadelphia. But for Abdul Vix, better known as YBCDUL, this day would mark the end of his controversial life. Vix, a prominent rapper and a founding member of the notorious Young Bag Chasers gang, was driving through the neighborhood, unaware of the deadly ambush that awaited him. Around 3:30 p.m., YBCDUL was behind the wheel of a white Hyundai rental car. He had just picked up a friend from the 5500 block of North 6th Street. Little did they know, their journey would soon take a fatal turn. As YBCDUL approached the 5500 block of North Fairhill Street, he stopped at a red light. The intersection seemed ordinary, just another routine stop on their drive. But in the world of gang rivalries and street violence, danger often lurks in the most unsuspecting places. Suddenly, another car pulled up beside YBCDUL's vehicle. In seconds, the peaceful afternoon was shattered by the sound of gunfire. At least one passenger from the other car opened fire, unleashing a hail of bullets into the driver's side of YBCDUL's car. The rapid succession of gunshots echoed through the streets, sending nearby pedestrians scrambling for cover. YBCDUL was struck multiple times, with bullets piercing his chest and hand. The attack was swift, brutal, and left no room for escape. The friend, seated in the passenger seat, quickly realized the gravity of the situation. With YBCDUL incapacitated, the friend took control of the vehicle, steering it away from the scene of the shooting. The friend drove the half block back to his house on North 6th Street, his mind racing to save the rapper. Upon reaching the house, he picked up another man, and together, they rushed him to Einstein Medical Center. The urgency of their actions was apparent. Every second counted in their bid to save their friend's life. Despite their frantic efforts, the damage was too severe. Abdul Vix, at just 25 years old, was pronounced dead within minutes of arriving at the hospital. But the story gets even more shocking. As the investigation into the shooting began, police officers revealed that no arrests had been made and that the number of gunmen involved remained unclear. The lack of ballistic evidence at the scene only added to the mystery, leaving investigators with more questions than answers. But the story took another dramatic turn not long after the shooting. Police received a report of a car on fire in a lot on the 6900 block of North 15th Street. The burning vehicle, a stolen car, was quickly linked to the crime. Inside the burned car, investigators found ballistic evidence that suggested a connection to the shooting. As the investigation continued, the spotlight remained on YBCDUL and his ties to the Young Bag Chasers gang. The YBC gang, based in the Mantua section of West Philadelphia, had been linked to multiple shootings and homicides since 2019. Prosecutors estimated that YBC-related feuds had left 30 people shot within just 16 months, with some victims as young as 15 years old. The gang's violent reputation and the rapper's prominent role within it made his murder all the more significant. YBCDUL was also well known in Philadelphia's drill rap scene, known for its aggressive and often violent lyrics. His songs, which garnered hundreds of thousands of views on YouTube, were notorious for mocking the dead and their families. In fact, he referred to himself as Mr. Disrespectful.
I'm tapping in with the most disrespectful rapper, person, human being on the planet, YBCDUL, aka Mr. Disrespectful.
And for being the most disrespectful rapper, he was also the most hated.
I saw a documentary about you that said you're the most hated rapper in Philadelphia. Is that cap?
You know that ain't no bluff.
In one particularly shocking video, Vix pretended to dig up an enemy's grave at a cemetery, a move that outraged many and solidified his reputation as a provocateur. Destroying Opps graves has become common in the drill scene. Needless to say, it has gotten rappers killed, and Fulio comes to mind. It's alleged that he was the one who went to Spaz's grave and pissed on it. Spaz was shot and killed in August 2018 by one of Fulio's affiliates, Kenny Caps. Despite the presence of approximately 200 people in the vicinity of the shooting, finding cooperative witnesses proved difficult. Many were reluctant to come forward, and some who initially provided statements later recanted their testimonies. One key witness, who had initially identified Kenny as the shooter, later recanted her eyewitness testimony and was arrested for perjury. Another victim, who had been wounded in the shooting, also recanted his statement and refused to cooperate with the authorities. With the evidence weakened by recanted testimonies and uncooperative witnesses, the charges against Kenny were downgraded. The state attorney's office amended the charges against him to manslaughter and aggravated battery. Faced with the new 2 charges, Kenny pleaded guilty. He was sentenced to 5 years, with credit for 3.5 years already served in jail. It wasn't long before Fulio's Opps decided to seek street justice, and on June 23rd, Fulio was gunned down while celebrating his birthday. 2 of the shooters, Rashad Murphy and Davion Murphy, were Spaz's brother and cousin. After the murder, Rashad Murphy, Spaz's brother, sent 2 separate disturbing text messages celebrating Fulio's death. The first one read, "I'm coming home, my thirst is quenched. Pop a bottle of Don Julio today, Murphy." While the second message read, "I'm coming home, my thirst is quenched. I love you, Murphy." YBCDUL's actions and lyrics had made him a target in Philadelphia, and some saw his murder as an act of revenge. In fact, some of his victims' parents even took to social media to celebrate his death.
Sorry, dude, I got pop my This boy got a whole album speaking about me. It's bits and pieces. For every family he dissed, they got a piece. He got holes in his body. They blew pieces of him. They said, you get a piece, you get a piece. He missing limbs.
She even revealed that people at the hospital refused to attend to him because he was known to diss their family members.
People at the hospital was calling and taking pictures. I think when they came in, they looked at him and was like, man, that's my cousin. I ain't helping him, you help him.
YBCDUL's life was nothing short of chaos, and just 24 hours before he was gunned down, he was on IG Live arguing with his ops and confessing to murders.
I've been on multiple drills. Never jumped out. Never jumped out on the block.
Well, YBCDUL and his crew have been entangled in a fierce gang war in Philadelphia that has claimed multiple lives. Philadelphia gang war.
All out CCK, LMG, 56th Street, Belmont, y'all never got back. 38th Street, 38th Street, I ain't even gonna lie. The Dub too, Collar Hill, Parkside, Bud, Blue for Bud, all is the real disrespectful. I'm gonna who you is, I will disrespect you.
YBCDUL and his crew had many enemies, and it wasn't any shock when they all started shooting and killing each other. In 2019, one of YBC's founding members was gunned down. It was a seemingly ordinary day in Philadelphia's Parkside section on May 29, 2019. 18-year-old Joshua David Munson, alias YBC Josh, was walking along the 4,200 block of Wyalusing Avenue, unaware that his life was about to be tragically cut short. At precisely 1:40 p.m., someone started letting off shots. Panic ensued as residents scrambled for cover and called the police. The emergency call reported a person with a gun, and officers were dispatched to the scene immediately. Upon arrival, officers found YBC Josh lying on the sidewalk, suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. He was quickly transported to Presbyterian Hospital, where he was listed in critical condition. Despite the medical team's best efforts, his injuries were too severe. After 2 days of fighting for his life, YBC Josh succumbed to his wounds on May 31st. As the investigation unfolded, police released crucial details about the suspect and the vehicle involved. The suspect is described as a black male, between 24 and 25 years old, wearing blue shorts and a white tank top. Witnesses reported seeing him park a gold Dodge Ram pickup on the corner of 42nd Street and Mantua Avenue, just around the corner from where Joshua was shot. Surveillance footage captured the suspect exiting the truck and jogging to Wyalusing Avenue. Moments later, the sound of gunfire echoed through the streets. The suspect was then seen running back to the truck and driving westbound on Mantua Avenue, disappearing into the city streets. The city of Philadelphia announced a reward of up to $20,000 for any information leading to the arrest and conviction of the person responsible for Joshua's murder. However, no one was ever arrested. So, YBC members decided to seek street justice, and over the years they caused havoc. In July 2021, they would catch 2 bodies on the same day. On a typical Wednesday afternoon, the streets near North 56th and West Vine were bustling with activity. At approximately 12:10 p.m., the ordinary day took a dark turn. Witnesses reported hearing a series of loud gunshots, shattering the midday calm. Emergency services were alerted almost immediately. Philadelphia police and paramedics rushed to the scene. Upon arrival, they were met with a grim sight. 16-year-old Kalen Jihad Johnson, known in the streets as KJ, was found inside a Hyundai Elantra, his body riddled with gunshot wounds to the face and body. Nearby, 18-year-old Tommy Frazier lay on the ground, having been hit multiple times throughout his body. Both teens were quickly transported to Penn Presbyterian Medical Center, but despite the best efforts of medical professionals, they were pronounced dead. The third victim, a 16-year-old boy whose identity has not been disclosed, was found with a gunshot wound to his left shoulder. He was taken to Lankenau Medical Center, where he was placed in stable condition. The community held its breath, hoping for his recovery, while grappling with the immediate shock and grief of the loss of 2 young lives. The death affected his mom, who was left heartbroken.
Person that saved my life, that kept me off the streets. I wasn't there to save his.
And that's why she was all too happy to see the leader of the gang that killed her son get killed.
He got holes in his body. They blew pieces of him. They said, you get a piece, you get a piece, you get a piece.
KJ's mom, Emily Johnson, would eventually get justice years later when her son's killers were arrested and sentenced to lengthy jail terms. Just 2 months after KJ's murder, the killer, who was identified as Ashard Curry, struck again. This time, his target was 19-year-old Sidney Sessoms, a rival he had been hunting for weeks. Sessoms' family had moved from West Philadelphia to Port Richmond, hoping to escape the ongoing feud, but Curry was relentless. He canvassed their new neighborhood with a photo of Sessoms' mother, asking corner stores and neighbors if they had seen her or knew where she lived. Eventually, Curry found them. One fateful afternoon in September 2021, he and another gunman fired multiple shots through their front door and into their living room. Sessoms was killed, and his father was critically wounded. Luckily, cops were near the scene and responded to the shots immediately. Curry shot at them too, but missed. He was arrested at the scene. The legal proceedings against Ashard Curry were pivotal in this tragic story. After his arrest in September 2021, the wheels of justice began to turn. In the fall of 2022, Curry pleaded guilty to a series of charges, including the murders of KJ, Tommy Frazier, and Sidney Sessoms, as well as the attempted murder of 2 police officers. This guilty plea set the stage for an emotional and intense sentencing hearing that would take place nearly a year later. The courtroom was filled with tension as the families of the victims prepared to confront the man who had caused them so much pain. Brenda Barksdale, the mother of Tommy Frazier, was the first to speak. Her voice was filled with sorrow and fury as she addressed Curry directly. "I will never forgive you for what you have done," she declared, her words cutting through the silence. She hoped he would rot deep in the depths of hell. Emily Johnson, the mother of KJ, followed with her own heart-wrenching testimony. She told Curry that he had inflicted the same pain on his own mother that he had on her, taking her child away. At this, Curry's composure seemed to falter. He opened his eyes and winced, the first sign of any emotional reaction since the proceedings began. Curry's attorney attempted to provide context for his client's actions. He painted a picture of a young man whose life had been marred by violence from an early age. Curry had lost his father and brother to homicide, had been hospitalized multiple times for mental health crises, and had begun self-medicating with drugs before the age of 13. Steenson argued that Curry was a product of his environment, a young man who had fallen in with the wrong crowd and had been shaped by the violence that surrounded him. Finally, it was Curry's turn to speak. His words were few but heavy with regret. "I'm sorry. There's nothing I can say to ease your heart," he said to the families. "I really deserve everything that I get." The judge was not convinced of Curry's remorse, citing his social media posts in the months leading up to the sentencing, where he had bragged about the people he had killed. In one post, the caption read, "I can really say I'm Curry. I got 4 rings just like Steph." For that, on top of the killings, she sentenced him to 42.5 to 85 years in prison. And just a few weeks after Curry was put behind bars, YBC caught another loss with their leader's death. But just like Curry, YBCDUL got what was coming to him after continuously dissing the dead. But he isn't the only rapper killed for dissing his ops in interviews and music. From FBG Duck getting murked for dissing O-Block members to Foolio getting killed for mocking his top ops' dead brother. Rappers killed for dissing the dead. YBCDUL and Foolio had many things in common. Spaz's grave wasn't the only one that Foolio visited. Foolio went to shoot the music video of his hit diss track, When I See You, at his ops' gravesite. The song, which is a remix to Fantasia's song, is among the most viewed songs to come out of the Jacksonville drill scene. Foolio was responding to his ops' hit song, Who I Smoke, which also went viral. Young and Ace, Foolio's top op and his ATK crew had released the song, which dissed Foolio's dead homies. Foolio's response diss track was so brutal that only he showed his face in the music video. His cousin Kojak didn't show his face. In the track, Foolio raps, "Went out to eat on his birthday for a shot. 3 dead in the worst way." This is exactly how Ace's brother and 2 best friends died. In June 2018, Ace was out to celebrate his younger brother's birthday. The group chose a local favorite spot for the birthday dinner. After the dinner, the 4 young men left the venue, but as they pulled away, the unexpected horror unfolded in mere moments. A car, seemingly out of nowhere, approached their vehicle. As Ace was about to call his girlfriend on his phone, their ops started letting off shots without warning or provocation.
So I'm calling him, I'm about to call her. Soon as I pull my phone out, I get shot in my hand. See, my whole hand, see, all this is off, but it grew back.
Youngeen Ace, amidst the chaos, made a split-second decision fueled by instinct and brotherly love. He leaned over in a desperate attempt to shield his brother in the driver's seat, risking his own life in the process.
I ain't gonna lie, I tried to like shield my little brother, 23. So I'm shielding him, trying to get him out the car though. I'm pressing like the door, cause the door's locked. So I'm trying to press the unlock button, but they still shooting.
Tragically, his efforts were in vain, and the driver, along with 2 other passengers, succumbed to their injuries. Well, Fulio would also be killed celebrating his birthday in Tampa. After his death, Ace released a diss track and revealed why he took out his main op, and the went to that grave and took a picture. Ace raps. Fulio and YBCDUL also had something else in common apart from their ops' graves. They both had a habit of hoping on Instagram Live and dissing their ops. One time, Fulio went live and brutally mocked a dead op who had been kidnapped, killed, and his bones found 1 year later.
This man got kidnapped, bro. This man got his kidnapped, like real deal, lost and found type.
On the evening of July 11th, 2019, a man clearing land off Utsi Road made a shocking discovery. Corbin's skeleton was found, wrapped, and buried, bringing a tragic end to the search. KTA's head honcho Fulio was all up on Instagram making fun of Corbin after the discovery was made.
And Corbin, they let Corbin get kidnapped, man. That crazy, man. The Corbin. Got this stupid kidnapped. They found a bones. He kidnapped like a little baby. Like a little boy.
Fulio took the disrespect to a whole new level as he mimicked Corbin the day he was kidnapped.
I know he was crying. Please. Help. What the nigga said? Help.
Apart from dissing his ops on Instagram Live, YBCDUL took his disrespect to a new level and used his music to diss his enemies. One of his most famous diss tracks was released just 6 months ago, and the title tells the whole story. Turns out one of his op was gunned down while leaving a McDonald's where he worked.
Seems like you have a McDonald's obsession in general.
Because, like, shouldn't be working at McDonald's.
So you had an enemy who got killed working there or leaving there or something?
He should have worked somewhere where it wasn't a drive-through.
Just like YBCDUL, FBG Duck also murked after dissing dead O-Block legends. FBG Duck was shot and killed at Michigan Avenue and East Oak Street in the Gold Coast area of Chicago a few weeks earlier, an incident that had been caught on camera. CCTV footage showed a black car stop in front of a store, and armed men jump out and immediately start letting off shots as Duck tries to escape in vain. They then jump back in the black vehicle, and a gray Chrysler, which was also involved in the crime, sped away, leaving Duck to die. More footage showed the gray Chrysler pulling up to O-Block with a cop car in pursuit. As the weeks turned into months, the police worked tirelessly, piecing together surveillance footage, eyewitness accounts, and social media activity. The breakthrough came when investigators discovered a digital breadcrumbs trail linking the crime to the O-Block gang. Social media posts boasting about the attack, coupled with video evidence that placed suspects at the scene, began to paint a damning picture. What sold them out the most was a YouTube video that has now been deleted where they snitched on themselves. In the video, viewers easily pointed out in the comment section that they could spot the car that had been used in Duck's murder. Another thing the feds picked up from the video was their motive. Boss Top became a little too cocky and decided to answer any question on camera. Then came the million-dollar question, FBG Duck.
You got any thoughts on FBG Duck? Any thoughts on him? Did you know him? Who Duck? Did you know him before? Everything?
His answer gave the feds the rope to hang the O-Block guys.
Everything like that? I don't know. On game. All I know, don't say that about Troy. Or rest in peace, Duck. Don't say shit about Troy. That's it.
T. Roy was King Von's best friend, who was gunned down while Von was still in jail. Just a month before his death, FBG Duck had released Dead where he dissed T. Roy. The feds revealed Von had put a $50,000 bounty on Duck's head. However, no one was willing to slide. Von then bumped his offer to $100,000, which proved too enticing for his goons. A video surfaced on YouTube of King Von giving O-Block members custom-made chains to reward their successful mission. And according to O-Block goons, the chains were a trophy. FBG Duck and YBCDUL suffered the same fate for dissing the dead. However, this hasn't stopped rappers from continually disrespecting their dead homies. Will we see more similar deaths? Only time will tell. Meanwhile, if you enjoyed this video, click on the boxes playing on your screen to watch similar content.